No matter what grades your students are in, no matter whether you're just starting out homeschooling or have been at it a long time, the ideas that I'm going to share today have the power to transform your thinking and equip you for the days ahead. Welcome to the Simply Charlotte Mason podcast. I'm Sonia Schaefer. Many of you are getting started on a new school year. Some of you are in the midst of your year. Wherever you are in planning your work or working your plan, we are all facing the unknown. None of us knows what tomorrow may hold, or next week, or 3 months from now. Each day of homeschooling brings its own challenges and rewards. So as you stand on the edge of tomorrow, may I offer you 5 thoughts for the days ahead? As I look back over my homeschooling years, these are the ideas that bubble to the top, no matter how old the children are. Number 1, keep the big picture in mind. I love to spend time at the beach, and I remember once when I was walking along the edge of the waters, I decided to go to a pier that I could see in the distance. Well, as I walked, I lowered my eyes to the sand in front of me and began to think. The waves rushed in on my right side, lapping at my feet, splashing over my legs as I walked along deep in thought. And after about 10 minutes, I glanced up to see how close I was to the pier, and I was startled to see that I had veered completely off course. The waves were pushing and pulling me so much that they had altered my path, but I didn't realize it because I was so focused on each individual step. And the same thing can happen to us as we homeschool. Each day has its own waves that can push and pull at us. They might be other people's opinions, circumstances that happen, or even our own second guessing. In the midst of those waves, we need to remember to lift our heads and keep the big picture firmly in mind so we don't get pushed off course. It's so easy to get head down on the details of each day, and those are important, and they should receive our attention. But we also need to remind ourselves of the big picture and where we're headed. This can be especially important when you're using the Charlotte Mason approach, because certain subjects are introduced at certain mile markers along the way. We don't do English grammar, for instance, until 4th grade. And we don't start formal spelling lessons with dictation until the student is 10 years old. We postpone formal composition lessons until high school. Now, there are good reasons for that timing, but if we are not careful, that outside voice that exclaims, "What? You're not doing composition in 1st grade? Don't you want your students to be able to write well?" can push us off course. We need to keep the big picture in mind so we can remind ourselves that, yes, we have composition scheduled. It will happen at this time, and here's why. If you're not sure about that big picture of a Charlotte Mason education, take a look at the Simply Charlotte Mason curriculum overview. It will give you that much-needed perspective. I'll leave a link in the description. And I'll also leave a link to a video that will walk you through the Charlotte Mason approach to language arts in particular. As you walk through the days ahead, do focus on the details for each day, but don't forget to raise your eyes every once in a while and remind yourself of the big picture. Idea number 2, be content in this stage of the journey. It seems like each stage of our homeschool journeys has its unique challenges, and it's easy to start wishing this stage away. Oh, it will be so nice when they just learn to read, or when they can do independent work, or when they can do written narrations. And if we're not careful, we might find that we have wished away most of our homeschool years. Being content means having an inner satisfaction that this is all I need. Discontent, on the other hand, means having an anxious desire for more and more and faster and faster. It's not easy to be content during the hard times. But those challenging stages are what lay the foundation for what is to come. I'm reminded of the motto at a folk school near me. They teach traditional handcrafts that have been used in the mountains of Appalachia through the centuries. When I took a week-long class there one year, I found this kerchief in the gift shop, and it stopped me in my tracks. The words pierced my heart because it dawned on me how important this idea could be for the atmosphere of my home. It says, "I sing behind the plow." That's what I want to encourage you to do. Wherever you are, working in this field of homeschooling, be content there. Sing behind the plow. You will move on and plow another part of the field eventually. Sing there too. Be content wherever you are. Idea number 3, allow each student to grow at his or her own pace. We talk about this a lot at Simply Charlotte Mason because it is such an important concept. Education is not about how one student compares to another student who happens to be the same age. Every individual is a unique combination of personality, background, interests, talents, and skills. Not everyone is equally adept at every school subject. It's perfectly normal for one student to be at one level in reading or writing and another level in math. That's part of being human. Charlotte Mason wanted each student to be respected as a unique person, an individual. Now, that doesn't mean that we cater only to a student's strengths. No, each person can grow, even in the areas that come harder to them. But it does mean that we allow each student to grow at his or her own pace. We offer our children the respect that God, the heavenly parent, offers to his children, to be treated as an individual and encouraged to grow without comparison. Charlotte Mason reminded us of this fact in Parents and Children. She wrote, "The divine spirit does not work with nouns of multitude, but with each single child." Parents and Children, page 273. The Holy Spirit does not expect every believer to learn exactly the same thing at the same time and in the same way. Rather, God deals with each of his children as an individual, lovingly and wisely giving that child what he or she can bear and is ready for at that time. Let's carefully reflect this aspect of God to our children and allow each one to grow at his or her own pace. Idea number 4, embrace character lessons as well as academics. Have you ever experienced a day like this? You gather everyone in the living room to read history, and while you're opening the book, 2 of the kids suddenly start World War III. Now, it's during those times that I want you to remember this idea. Embrace character lessons as well as academics. It's easy to focus on the checklist and just lower the boom and shout, "That's enough, be quiet, sit down and listen, we're doing history now." Sometimes the most important lessons are unplanned. We need to settle it in our minds and hearts that those unplanned character lessons are just as important as the planned academic lessons. It is just as important that your children learn to resolve conflict biblically as it is that they learn to solve an algebra equation. It's just as important that they learn to work hard to accomplish a task as that they can place Isaac Newton in the right time period of history. Remember, education, true education, involves the atmosphere of your home, the discipline of good habits, and the living and life-giving ideas that you present. And character lessons fall under all 3 of those categories. They reinforce what you want to be the atmosphere in your home. They urge your students to practice the discipline of good habits because habits form character. And the ideas and principles that they learn in those moments can help them consider life and living it alongside other people. So don't overlook those unplanned moments that suddenly greet you. They offer a valuable opportunity to educate your students in life lessons in real time. Embrace character lessons as well as academics. Then idea number 5, wherever you are in the journey, be all there. You are a unique person. And Charlotte Mason believed that the individuality of parents is a great possession for their children. The Story of Charlotte Mason, page 201. You, your personality, your strengths and weaknesses, your talents and skills, all aspects of your personhood are a great possession for your children. So, do all you can to eliminate any distractions that might be hindering you from offering your students all of you. Maybe you're being distracted by the housework, trying to squeeze it in between lessons. Is that schedule helping you give your students the best version of mom or dad that you can give? Maybe you need to rearrange some of the chores. Or perhaps you're being distracted by your phone and giving your students only a portion of who you are as a person during their lessons. It's possible you're distracted by sleepiness because you've gotten in the habit of staying up late and then you're fighting fatigue during school time. Now, I'm not referring to those of you who have babies and don't have a choice. I'm talking about making a regular decision to skimp on sleep and then struggling through school the next day because of that decision. Now, this isn't a guilt trip. It's just a reminder that you have a lot to give your students just in who you are as a person. Your individuality is a great possession for them. So, as much as possible, wherever you can, try to eliminate anything that's distracting you and do your best to offer all aspects of your personhood to your family. Wherever you are in the journey, be all there. 5 simple thoughts, but each one has the potential to make the upcoming days more of what you probably had in mind when you answered the call to homeschool. Keep that vision clear. Keep the big picture in mind, even as you practice being content at each stage. Sing behind the plow. And then offer each of your students the respect to grow at his or her own pace. Embrace the opportunities that present themselves, perhaps unexpectedly, to help your children grow in good character as well as academics. And wherever you are in the journey, be all there. Do what you can to eliminate distractions so you can offer your children all of you, your unique personhood, in these moments together. Just a little encouragement for the days ahead. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.